I hope so. Okay. Yes. Okay. Well, first of all, welcome and thank you for your very, very large interest in this very, very interesting meeting with those very, very important chambers of commerce in the Latin American continent. I know all of them, I must say, quite well. But it's really worth to know who these chambers are, what they offer, and who is behind the chambers. Because as this is my credo, you can have any company, any organization, but it's the people behind who make it or who do not make it. Yeah. I don't know if we start with which chamber. So the first one is Brazil, as the alphabet says.
Yes.
Normally, the president of the chamber, Damien Grimonpré, would have been here, but an unforeseen event made that he had to apologize. So is coming in his place Yves Jadoul, who's the vice president of the chamber. Also present is the lady behind the chamber, and I want to insist, Anne van den Avanne. She's the leading lady, if you permit me, from this chamber, the one who puts the chamber again on the rails, and with whom I've had many contacts and have admired her entrepreneurial talent. Yves, I propose that you present yourself, because I didn't want to read curriculum vitae shortly.
Of course,
yourself.
Yes, thank you.
And I don't know, do you do the share the presentation, or do we?
Yes, I can.
Yes,
No,
okay.
I can share. I can share.
Okay,
No.
then you have you are at the mando, as they say, of
Right.
the.
Super.
So the floor is yours. We are listening.
Okay, thank you.
And thank you.
Thank you.
Already.
Thank you. So Damien has a business urgency at this time. So that's why, in fact, who is paying the bill is the customer. So that's why it's important for him, of course, to follow his business today, now. So I thank you also, Anne, because Anne also quite produce 80% of the presentation that I will do. And I also thank also Danielle, who is also a very active member of the board of director. First, so I am Belgian. I was born in Namur, and I was living in Gembloux. And I left Belgium in December 1969. 1969, so it's quite a long time. Then I studied here in the French school. Then I went back to Belgium, and I worked in Belgium and in Luxembourg for 10 years. And I came back in 1980s, and then in 1997, and in 2002, I was called by the people of the chamber. I didn't know that there was a chamber in Belgium, in Brazil, Belgian chamber, and then since 2003 up to 2012, for 10 years, I was president of the chamber. So we are, I would say, a citizen of Belgium, and we are, I would say, we are keeping our flag standby. And then, so we still helping, and so that's why today I'm just a vice president, but and also CFO, and we do everything also to support our flag. So this is a very, and my business is mergers and acquisition, and my consultant on mergers and acquisition and compliance, and a lot of finance also. So it's a very short presentation. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so I will make the compartilhar. Aqui, how do we do this? Hold on. So you can see now? No, not yet. Compartilhar. Yeah, no, I think yes.
Yes. We were seeing it.
Super.
Yeah, now we see it.
Okay.
Perfect.
Okay. So I think the first picture for people who know this street is Avenida Paulista, the main street where our chamber has is domiciliation. So we have just to present ourselves. So we have our locals. Today is rented, but it was purchased by members of Belgian banks in 1974. So we have our assets, and so we live on this street. This is the first presentation. Okay. So just a presentation, quick presentation. So the story of our chamber remounted to 1938 with office in São Paulo. We have a board of director. It's an election. It's a direct election from the members. There is no conseil d'administration. There is nothing. So it's direct. So we must be efficient. It's a meritocracy. And so that's why we must be, there is a direct election. Also, we have an advisory board. Today it's 5 members, but there is a capacity of 22 members, okay? We have one administrative assistant from one or sometimes we do not have, okay? For the time being, we are going to hire a new one on the next weeks, okay? We have our head office in São Paulo. It was always in São Paulo, but as there is other cities and other people, as Brigitte said, people would say is essential, of course, to the dynamic of a chamber, of an association. And so Rio de Janeiro is a very, I would say, strong city. So it's a big city with a lot of petroleum activities, port and so far. So it's Rio de Janeiro. It's unavoidable. We cannot avoid this city. And we have Goiás, which is a center, Goiás, which is close to Brasilia, Natal, and Fortaleza. Okay, we have around 50 members. Okay, our goal in 2023 will be 80 members. Okay, we have. With the pandemic, we have absolutely and did a lot of job in order to, I would say, to have a total digital transformation. So we are completely in the cloud. Okay, so we have low cost, no cost, if I could say like this. Okay, so we have a different kind of membership. We have a gold, which is around 1,500 euros. We have for individual and so far. So the idea is to progress on corporate and not to progress too much on individual. And so today our gold members is Jan de Nul, Inpex Traco, who works in veterinary. We have NG, Suez, which is well known, Solvay Rodia, and Cantunasi. So we are progressing. We are, I would say, we are very happy, of course, to have those gold members to bring, I would say, credibility on our chamber. On the past, we have BNP Paribas, which was gold. Now it's blue. And we have Parafix, which is owned by Damien and Anne. And so we thank you, of course, to our blue member. And we have some green members. My company is Viability and Finance, but we have other companies. I have Compressor, which are from Liège, Fomeco, and others, some lawyers and so forth. So we have Belgian companies in Brazil. On the past, we have done also a survey, and I think 10 years or 15 years ago, we done a survey. There was 90 companies, 90 Belgian companies in Brazil. The country is huge. So everybody can be hidden in the country. So there is a lot to do. When we see how many Belgian companies we have in our membership, members, in fact, we have a lot of job to be done. But it's not so easy within a huge country like this, where, of course, to bring, I would say, an added value for a company who is at 2,000 kilometers. Even by webinar, sometimes it's not so easy to convince people to be member of the chamber. So Belgalux Belgalux is not easy to be a chamber, of course, not so. Even in Brazil, I would say the digital transformations brought, I would say, challenges to the chambers, and not only the Belgium, the French also has a lot of difficulties, and the German also. So I think we are quite active and dynamic. And we decided, of course, to be very close to the embassies and to the regions, because in fact we are so small country, and so in fact there is so many things that we cannot do together alone. So let's do it together. L'union fait la force. Hein? So we have been doing we are approaching also try to bring, I would say, a new vector with the universities. I think education is something that sometimes it's not very, would say, we cannot see very much with the chamber. So we have done. So also we have done partnership with Low Carbon Business Association. Danielle, who is the director of the sustainability, did a good job also. We have done also some groups. So we not read because we have a lot of small times. This year we build two commission: a commission of sustainability and green tech, and a commission of investment and economy. Okay, just two commissions in order to bring the members within those commissions and to bring activity in order that the board of directors is not always trying to invent what are we going to do in March, what are we going to do in April and so far. So the two working commission also will bring their activity too. Any question? No. Okay. Partnership goals and service. Service can be provided by Belgalux in partnership with specialized office and against payment for hiring service, legal advice and small topics. So also the chamber in Brazil, it's a non-profit organization. So we do not bill anything. Okay, we cannot bill anything in terms of official billing, in order not to be taxable by the legal authorities, the tax authorities. Okay. So we legal advice, tax, custom and VAT advice, translation, assistance and collecting unpaid invoice and visa application, helping with practical information through the experience of our associate. I will go back on this one. Domiciliation, servant and management of payroll is not possible due to specific Brazilian law. Okay, so we do different kind of activities. We have, of course, the internal activities by the board of directors. We have webinars. This is one of the webinars. We do also visit to the companies. I think this is, we do not have any companies in Brazil, in São Paulo cities, okay? They are always abroad. São Paulo is a city, a service city. So we do visit, and we have 4 visit to companies that's going to be scheduled this year. We have those 2 commissions, sustainability and finance. Okay, we have a newsletter. Not easy to keep the newsletters update. We always sometimes have delays. Okay, happy hours, of course, with the Belgian beer. This is we have a lot of Belgian beer restaurants here in São Paulo. We have 2 Belgian restaurants that are very traditional and they are big. They are doing by young people. So we are trying to, of course, to help them. And we said last time that I was there that we will offer them a map of Belgium, because there is no map of Belgium on this restaurant. This year we are going to start something new. Many times the chamber, they are managed by, I would say, mature people like me, like Anne, like Damien, and we need to bring a new generation in the chamber. My sons, my Anne's son, and other young people from 30 years old. It's not easy, of course, when you are 30 years old. You are trying, of course, to get your bread, your everyday bread. So we are going to try to have, I would say, a kind of a young member activity. This is very essential because we need succession in the management of our chamber and new ideas, of course. We have some dinners, and we have also the General Assembly, the yearly General Assembly. How to do business in Brazil. Okay, this presentation will be, of course, shared with you by Brigitte and so far. This is all, there is nothing confidential. So this is a presentation of Brazil, the surface. It's 278 times Belgium, 16 times France. So It's quite big. It's not Luxembourg. So it's a big country, 240 million people. I believe that maybe Nigeria is going to be bigger than Brazil within the next years. We have a huge coast of line, Amazon forest. We have but maybe we have the largest with India. We have the largest direct democracy election in the world, which in fact we have the result of the election within at 8 o'clock p.m. After the day all the election is completed. So it's a sophisticated e-election, and Brazil is very proud of this system. So its language is Portuguese, religion is Catholic, but also Protestant. It's a lot of Protestant, emerging powers and economy. So some points, we are starting by the difficulties in order to bring, of course, which is the good point on the next slide. Brazil, like Latin America, is coming from the Iberian system. The two systems are quite identical, and we have a very high level of administration. It's very bureaucratic, very bureaucratic. Maybe just Italy, maybe it's bigger. We have high and complex system of tax, federal, state, and municipality. So we have 27 states with different law. We have 5,500 municipalities, but this is less problematic, and a cascade of federal tax. So it's very complex. If anyone know India, it's quite so complex than India in terms of taxes. Okay, people are trying to change the system, but it's not so easy. Low legal security for foreign investment. Well, it's Brazil. It's a democracy. It's a country which is growing slowly. His system is not so always. Sometimes we wake up on Monday and we see the law are changing. But anyway, people and company are adapting themselves very quickly. Nothing is forever. And all the managers in Brazil, and the people and the population, they know that nothing is forever. There is no zone of comfort in Brazil. Everything is changing. Infrastructure need improvement. So we have volatility on the currency. The currency, Brazil has a strong reserve. This is something that we can do. Brazil has maybe with China is one of the strongest financial reserves against is gross national product, which is of course a kind of sustainability for the country, but it remains, I would say, a speculative country, and the money is speculative, and the money. So we have a floating rate. We have not a fixed rate, which is good, of course, for the business, and we have to manage. We have to understand. In Brazil, cost of the money is huge, and Brazil is maybe, I don't know which is the other country. We do not use in Brazil arithmetic rate. We use exponential rates. So in fact, it's also something very complex in order to understand what is exactly the cost of the money. Selic is the interbanking rate. So we have an inflation around 6 to 7%. So we have Selic 13.75. So the difference is, I would say, the net interest between interbank between the bank, central bank, and the bank. So it's huge. So in fact, in Brazil, you have to look for your cost of working capital. You don't have to have inventory. You have to, on your company, you really have to look for your inventory because cost of the money is huge. So there is no state federal incentive for business. So there is no État-providence. There is no money coming from the government. And if the money comes from the government, there is a price. It's maybe not Selic, but it's very expensive. So all the companies, all the people are trying to avoid to have any debt. So, for example, if you don't pay your credit card at the maturity, you could have face an interest rate of 450% per year. Okay, this is quite expensive, huh? And if you don't pay for more, you can be sued by the company, by the creditor at the court. So you have to pay your duty. Education is a challenge. We have a very low education, which means that for the companies we have a lack of good employees, which makes that the cost of the employee in Brazil is expensive. It's expensive because we do not have, let's say, the quantity that India and China maybe have. But in Brazil, we do not have a lot of good employee, but we have a huge university system, and the companies also has to invest on the employees after they are leaving the university. So we have, of course, a labor convention which is quite complex. Reduce spending power population. So the average, I've seen that now the average, just making an account here, the average salary is around $252 per month, which is, of course, an average. Of course, when you go to the north of Brazil, is lower. So very weak political system. So ethics and possibility of corruption is similar in everywhere in Latin America, but I will come back on it. Doing opportunity. So it's a huge market available and access to Latin America. Since more or less 2020 years, for people and company, billionaire construction of very sophisticated digital e-government, fiscal, social security, pension, social assistance, public health, election, court of justice system at all levels, federal, 27 state, 5,500 municipalities. They have produced a huge system which is working, which is very effective. And this is why Brazil is keeping, crossing the ocean, despite the fact that we have some internal problem. So the governments are rich. The governments are rich, which is good. There is good money coming from taxes. In the pandemic, within 4 months, federal authorities succeed to switch presidential social assistance and health to mobile application for 90 million persons. 90 million persons. People must adapt themselves. So in 4 months, in Brazil, we didn't have lockdown. Okay, we didn't have lockdown, but of course there was a lack of presential, of course. But the 90 million person that was switched from presential to mobile application, and also a huge elderly people, this is of course a success. This huge system contribute to put a lot of pressure in business informality and give support to at least 70 million people who receive social assistance in different ways. Sorry, there is a mistake here with Portuguese. Okay, so São Paulo state and city with the 3 large and modern international airport remain the attractive point for investment, corporate and M&A, Anglo-Saxon lawyers, stock exchange, large audit companies, super hospital, and excellent international school and restaurant also. So we have in São Paulo and city, I'm saying because in fact everybody is coming, let's say 95% of international flight arrives in São Paulo. And so when it arrives in São Paulo, immediately it is captive by, of course, the consultant and so far. So São Paulo is really a hub. So we have in São Paulo an excellent infrastructure, I would say, with satisfactory delinquency compared to other Atlantic Ocean states. So when you see the other Atlantic states, so Rio de Janeiro and so far, we have a huge delinquency. So in São Paulo, we say satisfactory, if I could say like this. So there is many needs to still infrastructure, specialized industry, food industry, software. We have a good workforce. The Brazilians are very motivated. They are not looking at their clock at 5 o'clock because they must leave. In fact, so it is very positive. is people is very competitive. So from low class to high class, people are very competitive. Some industry are world class, the agro and present of a lot of multinational, and but it's an opportunity, but of course not. It's a protected country. It's always protected country since the 19th century. So doing business in Brazil, so people are very warm, very creative people. There is a different stage. There is different Brazils within Brazil. So in São Paulo, which is huge, very developed. Social media is very present, service-oriented, hardworking people, see bright side of life despite all problems. How is Belgalux support to do business in Brazil and in Belgium? And I will close with this slide. So there is 2 points, starting and maintaining business in Brazil. Belgalux is an association where members give a contribution for an expectation of business return. Belgalux has a code of ethics for the regulation of conflict of interest, reason why the board of management has a strategic role to always and only promote the competence of the member for any business question that would raise. We incentive the transparency and accessibility of all our members in order to switch the question to our internal list of members. So if we have a question, so how to do business in Brazil? Of course, we can help for free, but of course, if there is money coming, we must give this opportunity to our members, because the board of it's not the chamber of the management, it's not the chamber of the president of the vice president, it's the chamber of the member. So ethics is very important for us. So network is also a tool to promote the transparency for the members and avoid any conflicting arbitration by the board of management in favor of a member or in detriment to another member. Credibility is all. So it's important for the network to activate this member, that the members, of course, see other member, other components so far. Who is doing the business is the member, is not the board of management. Yeah? Starting and maintaining business in Belgium. So we have 2 roles as the other kind of bilateral chamber. We have 2 roles, the local country and Belgium. So Belgium has taken the policy to be very close to the 3 region. And any possible interest to export or to invest in Belgium, we do the bridge with the 3 region. And we try to bring the company interest to do business to cover our help. So for example, last time there was a company from the very south of, hello? So from the very south of Brazil, close to Argentina, the frontier, the guy wanted to export rice, okay? And he wanted to have a Belgium player for rice. We have no competence for this. And we say, okay, if we are going to switch you to the region, and we did it. And so the guy was very happy and say, well, when you will be on our region, or when can be member of the Belgalux, I will be. And the region were very happy, of course, with this, I would say, with this win-win discussion we have with them. So this is something that how Belgalux support to do business in Brazil and in Belgium. And that's it for the presentation. And I apologize if I have overpassed my 15 minutes of time. That's it. Brigitte?
Yes, thank you, Yves. Thank you so much. I don't know whether you have already questions now, or do you prefer we go on with the next country, which is Chile? I leave it a bit up to you.
Brigitte, I would go on with Chile, and then we can have the questions after the 2 presentations. I think yes. That's better.
Yes, that's better. So briefly, we are going to listen now to Anne Bruggeman, the leading lady of the chamber in Chile. I propose that she presents herself briefly, but she's an amazing woman. Also, born in Antwerp, studying in Louvain-la-Neuve, working in Luxembourg, and then life brought her to Chile. And the floor is yours, Anne. And she's leading in a very leading and dynamic way this Chamber of Commerce, Belgium, Luxembourg in Chile. The floor is yours, Anne. Thank you.
Thank you, Brigitte. I don't know what else to say. What an introduction. Thank you so much. Well, I think it's an amazing initiative that the BLCCA is doing to unify all our chambers, because in the end, we're all doing a bit the same. And I think it's important to have the faces behind the countries to be able to call or send an email whenever you think that there is something we can do in common. So thank you to the BLCCA for this great initiative. So as she was mentioning, my name is Anne Bruggeman. I'm Belgian from Antwerp, but I've studied in the UCL law. I'm a lawyer in Belgium and Luxembourg. So I lived also and worked for 5 years in a law firm in Luxembourg, and then I fell in love with a Chilean, and I moved to Chile. So since 6 years now, I'm living in Chile. I'm very happy to live here. It's an amazing country. I will explain you later. So very nice decision, a very big difference between Belgium, Luxembourg, and then Chile. But I mean, once you come to Chile, I think there's no way back. When I arrived at the embassy, all the girls were saying, you fell in love with a Chilean. And it was the story of all the Belgian women working here. So it was a funny welcoming. So, well, I'm gonna dive into my presentation. There you go. You should be seeing it. I'm gonna make it big. So you should be able to see the full screen, right? Not? Yep. Okay.
Okay.
Wait, because yeah, now it's fine. So basically, we have. I'm gonna divide my presentation in 2 parts, as Yves also did it, with a brief introduction about the chamber. Basically, you will see that a lot of things are in common. So of course, I'm not gonna try to repeat myself, and then dig into the decision of why to invest in Chile. Basically, we are a chamber that has been founded 42 years ago, so we're younger than the Brazilian one. And basically, we have been created by businessmen, businesswomen who wanted to keep the link with Belgium and Luxembourg. And of course, this has been growing among the years, including mid-sized companies until big-sized companies. We're also a non-profit organization in order to bridge basically the cultures, economy, politics between our 2 countries that we represent with Chile. Having said that, I think this is a very interesting cake that is showing you what are our main sectors here in Chile and some representative members of us. So basically, you can see that gastronomy and energy are representing 50% of our representing our socios, our members, basically.
We
I think
it's not moving.
Yep.
It's not moving.
We
Wait,
still
I'm
see the
gonna
first
share you
slide.
the PDF. The PDF. Wait, I'm sorry. I'm gonna stop sharing this one, and I'm gonna share. I'm gonna share you. There you go. Share the PDF. That's gonna be better. So now you should be seeing the PDF, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So I was here in the history of the chamber. So basically, that's what I just asked with the presentation of our foundation. And then I was showing you the cake with the representative sectors and members of our chamber. And as you see here, gastronomy and energy are really a key part of our members. Also, of course, composed by lawyers, consultants, and general areas like, for example, cargo loops for Luxembourg, and then also the construction sector, which is quite also important, but in a smaller proportion. We have been able to grow pretty much in the energy. I would say this has been really lately a very strong push in Chile, and I will come back on that later on. You will see that Chile is really the place to be if you want to develop a business in that sector. And we also, I have to mention it, I'm quite proud of this. Kenos is a company that is producing Steur Esturgeon caviar here in Chile, and they have exported for the first time in history the first Chilean caviar to Belgium last year, and we have helped in that matter to make it happen. So the relationship between the gastronomy of Chile with Belgium and Luxembourg is established, and we're very proud of assisting on that matter. As mentioned before, our mission is pretty similar to any chamber, I would say. But I would if I talk with a new member, what I always say is that we are a boutique chamber, meaning that we really want to have a relationship with the member, meaning that we need to know what he needs, what are the difficulties that he or she is encountering in the company, and we're going to try to find a solution tailor-made to their needs. So of course, we have a bunch of general services that I will show you afterwards. But the main mission is to promote and to make your economic, the growth of your company grow. That's really our focus. And that goes by different actions, of course. It's not just one way of doing it. You can help in different ways. And we're also, of course, a very solid contact platform for our members, which is also facilitating to do business and to grow opportunities from their businesses and to make their company grow. In a nutshell, here you have some pictures that basically say that, as I was mentioning, we have a personalized relationship with our members. We have several agreements within nationally wise, I would say. So with all the main institutions and governmental institutions, ministries, we have a direct contact. So if they need, I don't know, a permit that needs to be approved, for example, we can facilitate and try to bridge and see what we can do to help. But also, on the other hand, we have, thanks to the BLCCA, we have these agreements or relationships that we have with all these chambers located in Latin America, which is also something that is super important to show and to help our members, to give them a vision to also what's going on abroad. You know, they are installed in Chile, but maybe they want to install their company in Brazil tomorrow. So with having this direct and very close relationship with Anne, with Yves, with Damien, it's also an amazing tool that we can give to our members. So I'm talking about Latin, but of course I can call Brigitte tomorrow and say, Brigitte, help me with a contact in Bulgaria now, or like we're gonna have more contacts. And I think that that's very, very important to give that to your members. Of course, we help with the visibility of their brand and their company among our network. We help them grow, and we have a tremendous web system via our different platforms to communicate information. This is our dream team, I would say, with our president, Alain, who has been living in Chile for 30 years. So he has been a very, very good president for our chamber, because basically he really knows everyone, I would say. And that has been about the Belgian and Luxembourg community, has been a very big asset, and he knows really well the market. So so that I think is also a very big plus for managing the chamber on a daily basis. Then we have, of course, the board of directors composed by CEOs and gerentes of several companies. The honorary directors composed by our 2 ambassadors in Belgium and the one located for Luxembourg, located for Brazil and Chile. And then our economic advisors were AWEX and FITS. I would say also, like Yves mentioned, I think it's very, very important and key to have this strong ties and collaboration with all those institutions, basically Embassy, FITS, AWEX, BLCCA, to be able to provide a very good and solid service. And also we have our sister chamber, the Chamber of Chile in Belgium, led by Laurent de Meester, its president, and vice president Fernando Avila, with whom we also collaborate a lot on a daily basis. And we, for example, last year we organized, it was very nice because it was basically the first economic mission that was organized between our two chambers, bringing several Belgian companies to Chile, and it was their first trip after pandemic. So everyone was very, very happy to travel again, and we were able to make this mission happen and get out of this basically collaborations of companies from Belgium now working and doing business with our Chilean company. So clearly this collaboration is a very, very important on a daily basis. Here you have in a nutshell some pictures of the main events that we're organizing every year. Basically, we're always trying to, of course, give information to our members according to the national contingencies that are occurring. So if there's a new law that is changing the whole system of a specific topic, we're going to do teamed lunches or conferences on those topics. We have meetings with authorities to facilitate and make things happen on a higher level, I would say. We're organizing business summits with our members generally and with other experts. We do economic and trade missions, as I was just mentioning, between Belgium, Luxembourg, and Chile. And we have our national or classical yearly business fairs promoting Belgium in Chile. With here you have gastronomic products, but we also have other fairs which are related, for example, to Expomin, which is related to the mining sector. So there are a lot of fairs where we are basically promoting our dear country, Belgium and Luxembourg. Here you see also we are doing trainings. I don't know about in the other countries that are connected here, but here a very hot topic now is the women leadership. So basically granting the same position and same rights to women in labor works. And so that has been a very, very good topic to also stimulate the women amongst our community to continue leading their positions and to continue growing, because there's always been a gap between women and men in leadership positions. So we have been doing quite some trainings on that subject. We're also doing company visits, B2B meetings with our members. That's very important that we are doing every year with most members, a B2B meeting where we actually listen to what's going on in their company. And so we basically know and feel the temperature of what's going on, and like that we can assist in what they need. Of course, we are Belgians, so we are bon vivants, and we love to have dinners and after offices and gather to have nice moments together, culinary events, also women coaching, etc. You see, well, this is really in a nutshell, but basically those are the moments that we are sharing together. Now, let's move to the why invest in Chile. Chile is much smaller than Brazil. And they always say here in Latin America, Chile is a small country, right? Like we always say or hear it also in Belgium and Luxembourg. But you see that we're not that small. We're 17 times bigger than Belgium. And we're basically covering whole Europe with 4,000 kilometers of sea, of coast. On the other side, mountains, the Andes. With the north, you have the deserts, and the south, you have the glaciares with Antarctica. So you have a pretty amazing overview and landscape in Chile. Here, in a nutshell, you will see that basically Chile is very strong on the energy area or natural resources area, where you see that 28% of the world's copper production is located in Chile, and 54 is the production of lithium is located in Chile, with, for example, one of our members called SQM, that also have their headquarters in Antwerp in Belgium. This is a bit the white gold of Chile, and basically majority of worldwide production is in Chile. So definitely a very strong natural resources. Then we are the country with the most international trade agreements signed in the world. So this is also giving a sort of security to any investor that chooses to come to invest in Chile, to know that there's going to be clear rules, clear regulations in place to basically manage the trade between the countries. As I was mentioning, the energy sector is very, very important, because we have basically an amazing solar energy production produced with the sun radiation that we have. And basically 2 years ago, I'm quite proud of that project. 2 years ago, there is Cerro Dominador that was created, which is basically a solar plant of paneles zonnepanelen, the panneaux solaires, that were installed in the north of Chile. You had 14,000 mirrors that have been installed in the desert, and that have been moving, following the direction of the sun, in order to captate all the sun and project it back to a central tower. And that central tower was absorbing the sun, and the motor or the engine of that central tower is a Belgian motor. So I'm always saying, okay, here in Chile, we have the landscape, we have the energy and everything, but the heart of that project, and it's the biggest solar project of LATAM, is a Belgian heart. So I think it's a beautiful union to show the collaboration between our countries. Then here you see that we have very highly specialized workers. I will come back on that later on, but definitely that helps for new investors to know that basically they're going to have people that are capable to work and that are productive and working well. And then finally, here you also have this item showing that basically you have almost 23 million of active cell phones in Chile. That is more than one cell phone per person. So you see that the digital generation is super, super high, and that basically in that area, the digital generation or IT area, Chile is also very, very high on that sector. Now, going a bit more in detail, I would say, of course, Chile is a Latin America country. So when you compare to Europe, there is a difference in the way it's managed. It's Latino. It's clearly a difference. But if you compare amongst Latin America, Chile has been recognized as having an amazing ongoing leadership, meaning that in general, if you compare on the control of corruption, the rule of law, basically all the legal system in place is very solid. And on this chart, you basically can compare that and see that with the rest of LATAM or with the rest of the European Union, the OECD, Chile is really ranking pretty well. So that also is a very solid framework for any investor coming to Chile. Then on the second point, the sophisticated talent, as I was mentioning before, we have 28 of the 150 best universities of the region that are located in Chile. So that definitely provides an amount of students and graduated young force that is very good for employers in installing themselves in Chile. We also had for a few years a visa tech, which was basically attracting people that were from the IT industry, facilitating their visa approval to make them come to Chile and come to work to Chile. But basically, they had to be from a certain level of education in their IT. They had to be really experts. So with that also, Chile has managed to attract a very, very top-notch quality of IT professionals. And of course, facilitating their entrance in the country. All this implies an immediate consequence, which is that here with this figure, you see that you had until 2022, 350 companies that were incorporated per day. So that's pretty amazing, I believe, showing that the attraction of Chile is really tremendous. Then on a third point, I'm always surprised and amazed how Chile, all people have really this entrepreneurial mindset. I know that in Belgium or Luxembourg, to have your own company, it's another game. I mean, you need to comply with a lot of rules. You have, the costs are super high to have people, employees. It's not that easy. But here in Chile, if you have a good idea, everything is basically done for you to go for your company and explore your company or launch your company. And we have here some very interesting examples of really star examples, I would say, of Chilean companies that were born, you see, 8 years ago, 2015, Corner Shop, that grew as a startup, and then was allied very fast with Uber. Then we have this Notco company. I'm not sure if you know them. But here in Chile, it's like a young guy of 26 years old who said, I don't want to have more mayonnaise based on animals with eggs and stuff. I want to create my mayonnaise based on plants. So he created his company, and now Notco is listed the stock exchange and has been allied with Kraft. And when you look at the Starbucks tomorrow, you can have a sandwich with the Notco mayonnaise and the meat that is based on plants and not on animal origin, basically. So those are a few examples to show you how it is stimulated and the government helps startups or companies that want to launch a company in Chile. I'm going to accelerate a bit because I see that I'm getting to my time. Also, it's a high trendsetter regarding tech, as I mentioned before, with the mobile phones. Sustainability is really now on the lips of everyone and every company. It needs to be something that you have to consider in the management of your company, which is really a projection towards the future. And I think it's a very good mindset to have that incorporated in all companies. Chile is also a hub for the rest of Latin America. A lot of companies from Europe, they come, they install themselves in Chile, and then from there on, they expand to different countries in Latin America, thanks to, as I mentioned before, the trade agreements and tax-free agreements also that are in place. And last but not least, I would say Chile is not just business. Don't think only about setting up companies in Chile. Definitely, if you have some romantic souls connected today, I would say you have to come to Chile, because Chile has been recognized as the most romantic place on earth in the San Pedro de Atacama desert. So basically, you have amazing landscapes that you can come and visit. You have, as it's noted here, amazing skies, and you can see the stars with the most powerful telescopes. In Chile, we have the tallest building from Latin America as well. And we have not our Tomorrowland, but kind of similar Lollapalooza festival, and is the first one outside of the United States that has been in Chile since a few years. So pretty fun destination also to come to visit. So I all invite you, and if you come, please let me know. I'm really going to try to speed up, but basically here you have also, in a nutshell, the sectors where you can invest in that I also mentioned already before, that are really the attraction points for you to consider Chile. The trade and investment between European Union and Chile has been very solid since many years, and I'm gonna finish the presentation with that. You see here the sectors that are basically more essential or more favored to export to Chile, and that is clearly linked to the free trade agreement that has been entered into between the European Union and Chile, that was in place since 23 years, and that recently has been updated, and that clearly has an impact on facilitating trade between our two continents. And I believe that's, I'm not going to enter into detail about all what is implying that framework agreement, but I think that that's something very important that you have to have in mind when you consider the trade, because basically everything is done for it to be easy, without taxes or very few, and putting all companies on the same level of equality, no differences between small or big companies. So clearly a big change and a big improvement to make magic happen between our continents, and also including human rights, sustainability, and innovation, which is really what I was saying before, on everyone's lips nowadays, the gender equality between women and men, also creating more sustainable food systems. So the innovation is very strong in that new EU-Chile framework agreement, and I believe that that's also going to make a big impact on the evolution of our trade between our companies. So it was a lot of information that I just threw out here. I would like to leave you here a few contact details if you wish to contact me here for any question or anything that you pops up in your mind. You can always drop me a line here at gerente@camarabelgroups.cl, and we are also very present on all the social media platforms, so we can all connect also via LinkedIn. So this was my presentation. I'm just on time, I believe. Brigitte, sorry for the extension, but
it was perfect.
It was a pleasure to talk to you all.
It was perfect, Anne. Thank you so much. I think I have not been exaggerating in my email introducing those two dynamic chambers. Those who are here in the meeting can are witness of the dynamism of the leaders of the chamber, and so I imagine of all the companies they represent. I have a question for you. Do you have questions? So please go ahead. It's now that you have them both present. Silence. It's always the same. The first question never comes out. Well, I have one, just to flatten the floor. I have one actually for both countries. The actual giant changes in economic forces in the world. My question is, do you already feel some influence of these changes into the questions of companies to invest in your continent? Or do you say no, not yet? Or do you foresee changes for this? Because of course those changes, geopolitical and geoeconomic, will not remain without consequences that perhaps today nobody can foresee, but still have already some some flair, have the smell of changes. So this is my question for Chile and for Brazil, who are both very important countries with a large number of inhabitants and a young population, which is key, of course. Europe has not that young population at all, but you have. So my question is for you. I don't know who is picking up first.
I can start with as a B.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, as it was mentioned just on a very small sentence, Brazil is quite a close country, and the external trade represents very small figure. If we sum if we add export and import, it represents only 15% of the gross national product of Brazil, which is completely different from Chile. Completely different. Brazil was historically a closed country. We are not. So in fact, the influence from abroad in terms of trade, not investment, which is your question. So we do not suffer too much. Okay, on these geopolitical changes with China, Ukraine, Russia, and so far, there was a kind of game, if I could say like this, that China need Brazil to eat. And on this, Brazil remain on the top of the wall in order to get fertilizer from Russia, which is in fact, Brazil, the world need also the production of grain from Brazil. So that's in fact so in fact in terms of trade, Brazil is still, I would say, a kind of we didn't see much more, and I think even if things go deeper in we hopefully not, of course, in terms of dispute in Europe, I believe that Brazil will not suffer so much. Okay, in terms of investments, as I work on mergers and acquisition, and your question was good, I could see that the first impact on a small and medium company for investment in Brazil started in 2014 with the invasion of Crimea, where there was a first blockade with the European Union, with Russia. So I feel, of course, that in fact, European country, not American, it's different. European small and medium companies, there was say, well, the world is not similar, and the world is not similar. In terms of large investments in Brazil, durable investments, I could say, there is absolutely no move. It's plain vanilla. It's so large investment in petroleum, in energy, and in agriculture. It continues. It's an average of. We expect to have an average of 40 to 70 billion dollars this year. So we don't see any substantial change within those years in terms of huge investments. I hope that I could have answered in a very quick way to your question, Brigitte.
Joanne.
Yeah, basically, we from Chile's perspective, it's pretty much similar. You need to understand that the Chilean mindset, Chileans in general, they are very adaptable and strong-minded people. I mean, I don't know if you know, but in Chile, it's the place where you have the highest probability for earthquakes. And if you have everything going down, like it was the case in 2010, people the next day start to build again. So they have this. I'm just giving this as an example to let you know that even if the market is a bit shaking, Chileans, they're not getting that easily scared. We have had over 2 years ago an estallido social, a earthquake, a social outburst due to inequalities between rich and poor. And that also has brought a lot of insecurity a bit in the mindset of Chileans for the future. But regardless of that, numbers for investments and trade continue growing up. It didn't impact. We had several committees with the embassy, with the high-level CEOs to ask their opinions on, are you going to continue investing in Chile? What you're asking, Brigitte. All the companies were saying yes. And the main companies in the energy sector, they were saying, but Chile is such an amazing country to invest in that topic that there's no other place to be. So even if there is a risk of earthquake, there is a bit an issue with the inequalities, and that is a topic. Clearly, there is a topic. Investors, they continue coming, and trade continues to flow. And the agriculture point that Yves was saying is also key for Chile. We are an amazing producer in fruits and vegetables. China is our first business partner for the export. So I would say that they are cautious, that they think, wait and see, but the numbers haven't gone down. So our perspective is positive, and we believe that that's going to be also the case for 2023.
Also, Brigitte, I will ask maybe Anne, do you want to add something in terms of investments, Anne?
Not
In
directly,
what
but
sense? What do you mean?
Ah,
Sorry,
No,
the
Anne,
other Anne.
Anne van den Aden. Anne?
sorry, you are asking me, Yves, or Anne
Yes,
Bruggeman?
yes, yeah. I'm asking you, Anne van den Aven, in regard of Brazil,
Okay.
if there is something to add in regard of the question of
No.
Brigitte.
Now, we see that there are lots of investments continuing, but what we see as well is that a lot of companies are facing a lack of credit, of cash. So we start seeing that lots of companies start to be careful with their cash because, as you saw, we have very high interest rates. We get financing through European banks as well. But with the whole situation, what is happening right now in Brazil, the new government, what way the new government is going, we see that there is a little bit of cautiousness with the European banks. And we feel it also in Brazil, that we see that lots of Brazilian companies have a little bit of a problem of cash. So that will definitely affect the investments.
Okay. Other questions?
I have a question for Anne Bruggeman. Anne, how is the dynamic of your members? So how you have how many members? How do you see the progress of your chamber in the terms of members, and how do you see the perspective for 2023 to 2024? Mute, you're mute.
Currently, we have 43, 44 members, if I'm not mistaken. So pretty much the same than you guys.
Yeah.
I felt like we started 2023, and I already have 4 members that registered to become a member. So what I felt since the pandemic, like I felt a very big urge to get dynamic again, to connect with people, to get out of their comfort zones, and to find new ways to increase and to grow their businesses. So that, regardless of economic issues that may be worldwide, and of course coming out of pandemic, everyone suffered, companies have suffered. I feel a burst again of dynamism from our members. So in that sense, we continue growing. We don't have a specific target as you mentioned for growing into 80, if I'm not mistaken, for next year.
Yes.
It's very difficult to evaluate a strict amount of members, you know. But of course, all missions of every one of all the chambers is to keep growing, and that's also our mission. So yeah.
Thank you,
I see a question from Alain.
Yes, a question to both of you, Yves and Anne. Can you talk a little bit about Luxembourg, and if you have already members from Luxembourg and the links that you have with them?
Yeah, we'll start as a B. We do not have member of Luxembourg. We have been chasing Luxembourg company. On the past, we succeed to have for 1 year Cargolux, but then it's the Luxembourg companies that are in Brazil, they are located at 1,000 kilometers in Minas Gerais. And it's not so easy to bring them into the game. And we never succeed to bring them on a game. Even at the time of Arcelor, it was never. In terms of people, of individual members, once we have one member, but now I think we have a new members, because now there is a new law in regards of the Luxembourg nationality. So Brazil, in 2 states, Santa Catarina and the state of Espírito Santo, had a huge Luxembourg Dutch national immigration, and with the new law of Luxembourg, I heard from the Council for Luxembourg that it could have a potential of 12,000 Luxembourg in Brazil, which is, let's say, almost 3 times the numbers of Belgium in Brazil. So we have around in Brazil, something like 5,000, 6,000. I don't know exactly. Maybe Anne can help. So in fact, we do not have. We are very frustrated in regard of Luxembourg members. Very, very, very frustrated. But we did a lot in order to bring it.
Okay, we have noticed. I have noticed. I have taken note. Dear. I see.
Yeah, allow to respond on my side. Yeah, we have. I mean, we have like 5 or 6 Luxembourgish members, either from nationality Luxembourgish or companies. As Yves is saying, Luxembourg is a very small country, so of course we're never going to have that many members of Luxembourg than Belgium. But we have been able to strive to offer Luxembourg also a platform to our members that are not related to Luxembourg specifically, but to show them what Luxembourg has to offer. So even though they're maybe not Luxembourgish, and also given my experience in Luxembourg, I'm also a Luxembourg lawyer, so I have this connection with Luxembourg. I go every year. We have this mission to show what is Luxembourg, what is the attraction point of Luxembourg, and show that as a company, for example, you can consider Luxembourg to create your investment fund, for example, to optimize your structure. So basically, we have been able, even though Luxembourg is not that present physically as members, to promote Luxembourg as being a place to consider for your company or for your investments. And that's our mission as a chamber.
I have one point, maybe something that maybe Anne Brickman. I just received 10 days ago from a lawyer that Luxembourg for Finance is doing a mission every year And I do believe that we have also with the Brigitte and try to be more close with the Luxembourg for Finance. It's not that we could do a lot of things, but I think to be excluded from this movement, this is something that we shouldn't do. And to bring and in fact for Luxembourg for Finance, we are of course not bankers and so far, but I have identified a niche of tax lawyers which are interested, of course, to know much more of this. And I hope, of course, I think they are coming in March, I believe. So in order to strengthen our efforts with the Luxembourg for Finance and BLCCA, I think there is something to do more with them.
May I just add? Sorry, I'm Daniel. I'm the Director of Innovation Sustainability for Belgalux Brazil. And actually, I've got into Belgalux because I used to work at the Luxembourg consulate in São Paulo. And even at the consulate, we had a kind of a struggle to find Luxembourgish people here in Brazil. First, because it's a very family-based community here in Brazil, so there are many very united families that want to be together because of their Luxembourgish identity. But when it comes to business, they don't want, it's not that easy to make networks with these kind of Luxembourgish. On the other hand, we have very big companies that are also quite difficult to convince to gather a chamber because they already are very articulated worldwide. So this is one of the challenges. But obviously, we have a very big collaboration with the consulates and with the embassy. The embassy in Brazil has, I guess, it's about 3 years old. So we have a very good cooperation with the official representations here in Brazil. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't see any hands risen anymore. I don't know whether now.
No, but I will take advantage, Brigitte, in the regard of Luxembourg for Finance. How close is BLCCA with the Luxembourg for Finance?
Well, actually, our contacts are going through the Chamber, of course, of Luxembourg. So I'm taking note because it's
okay.
I know from my own experience in Barcelona, it was always very difficult to have those companies behind or in the chamber. Even Cargolux was also present in Barcelona, and it was really tough work. But as now, the collaboration, things change, and also the countries change, and also the people who are managing the country are changing. And I must say, I intend to have contact with the chamber in order to explore the ways to have them more involved, and above all, through the Luxembourg for Finance, which is a very big institute and very important, to have these ways broken open for the chambers, and especially now that you're talking about this item. I don't want to say issue, this item. Count on me. I will. Rodri is not there anymore, but we have very good relationships with Luxembourg, and Luxembourg remains an important country, how small it may be, but that's it. So I have my to-do list, and it's on it. Do anyone else from local chambers, for example, has some question? It's the moment. But I don't see any. Well, if you agree, we can piano close meeting. I think for the local chambers who were here, it's interesting, first of all, to see the faces and the people who are behind these chambers and these countries, to have, I hope you have learned things you never read in newspapers. I did anyway. I hope everybody who is now online today will be there also live in September in Spa-Francorchamps, and thanks to Anne Pirlet and her equipe, it will be an amazing event again. But before there, we have other meetings, and the next one is with Los Angeles and with Atlanta. So I hope you will be present also. We are exploring the Americas, and I hope everybody is happy with this. So I thank you for your presentations, Brazil, Chile, and I thank you for the audience, all the others. So see you soon. There's
Thank you.
one more thing. If you want the recording, you just need to send an email and I can forward it. Okay.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your time.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye.
Nice to meet you all. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.